2Chainz, Pretty Girls Like Trap Music. Why is it named that? 2Chainz has a brand new album for the world to listen to. I was excited for it. I've been excited for it. I love some 2Chainz. When necessary, not unwanted 2Chainz.
So this is mainly going to be a vocal review. 2Chainz, Pretty Girls Like Trap Music. How am I feeling about this thing? Do I think it's worth a listen? And do I think if you like 2Chainz, you'll enjoy this project? Yes, and yes. One of those questions was not a yes or no. I don't remember what I just said. So I just want to let everybody know right now, this is not a project where you should be expecting so much. He's got his own flow, his own style. He's been out here for years, putting in work since the beginning.
Like, how often do you hear 2Chainz on a feature and say, damn, I can't wait for this dude to release a project? No, you just take it for what it is. Pause. You just take it and you're just... Pause. You just look at it. You carefully assess the situation and determine where you are and proceed to ask the question, do I need a 2Chainz album based on this feature?
And that's kind of what a lot of this album is about. Him in certain situations before he got in the position that he's in right now and having the trap lifestyle and how he converted, his mindset from being a trap lord to a musician or a music artist. The way 2Chainz moves in the industry and just the things that he does leads you to believe that everything he says in this album is true. I mean, why would you have any reason to doubt him? He's one of the most well-spoken rappers I've ever had the pleasure to listen to and just see in interviews. And he's pretty much told his story through his music before, so going into this project, I'm like, well, what else do you have to give me? I'm not having the bar of expectation all the way through the roof because it's a 2Chainz record. You'd be crazy to expect a revolutionary project from a rapper who's delivered so much music, who's already over the age of 40. Oh, I'm sorry, he's only 39. He's about to be 40 though. Rapping is a lot like boxing. When you've done it for enough time, you gotta retire before you hit 40, okay? You just gotta.
Point is, at this stage in the game, do you think 2Chainz needs Viagra? Metaphorically speaking, the Viagra would be like a ghostwriter. Because he's older, he's like 40, and I'm just trying to gauge how people view him. What do you think he needs at this point to stay relevant?
And this may be one of 2Chainz's last projects, so I don't want people going into this thing thinking that they're gonna get something legendary like an Illmatic, or they're gonna get an All Eyes on Me at the end of 2Chainz. What he does give you on this album is some solid verses, some solid songs, a solid project. It's not great, it's not crazy, but it's solid. It's something that you can listen to. I wouldn't necessarily say he sounds too motivated on this thing, as he's telling a story from kind of past behavior. He's giving you an image of something that's already happened and telling it to you as if this is so, beneath him. He's at a new level now, so he's just spitting game. One of the tracks that I really like on here is called Door Swangin', which 2Chainz uses this to kind of use the door swinging as a metaphor for the amount of work that he put in when he went to college and he was selling drugs. There's certain things that only 2Chainz can say that can get you to be like, oh my god, now that I'm thinking about it the way he just said it, that sounds dope as hell. And 2Chainz gives a lot of that with this project, a decent amount of bars. Sometimes it's a little redundant, sometimes it's low energy, sometimes it goes on for too long, like the intro track I thought could have been cut down to like 3 minutes instead of the 5 minutes that it took up for the intro, just for 2Chainz to let you know everything in the second half of the song that he let you know in the first half. He does, however, clean it up on the next track, Riverdale Rd, which has this really ominous, just drug lord beat in the background to just push this idea that 2Chainz really was about that life. Listening to the instrumental alone, you're like, oh my goodness, oh, you got the stink face the whole time. With Good Drink, it's an okay song with Gucci Mane giving a pretty good feature, and then Quavo doing the most questionable thing on this track and saying, I'm gonna take your kid, no Harambe. Like, what are you... Quavo, stop it. Some of these tracks just aren't formulated well, like the one with Pharrell. I didn't think the Migos track, the one that features Migos, I didn't really think that was like too crazy. That was one of the first times Migos didn't do a track justice, in my opinion. Another track on here that I didn't really care for was the Nicki Minaj feature. Although I love 2Chainz verse on this thing, Nicki Minaj just kills the song for me. And it's not because I'm a hater of Nicki Minaj, because I want to like her music, but every time she starts rapping and she does this corny inflection with her voice to try to push the idea that she really didn't take an L to convince you and everybody else that she's really out here doing nothing but taking W's, Let me give you a little piece of advice, Nicki. You don't have to convince anybody. We went to your funeral a long time ago. You're good. No need to come back from the dead. She spends half of her verse talking about how she's putting people through college and, you know, she's doing right by her family. She's in a good position. She wishes people would give her credit. I'm like, okay. Although I don't like the way her vocals are right now, I can get through the song if this is going to be her subject matter. Then she continues to ruin the song by bringing up the Remy Ma beef. I got dissed by Papoose for writing the Sheetha record. I just passed Aretha record. No, you didn't. What? Aretha Franklin was out here selling real live bodies of work. There was no streaming in her day. Also, you're crossing genres. You didn't get to where you are based solely off your rapping ability. You got that way because you mix with pop artists. You got that way because you mix with other huge artists. You can't use this as an accolade.
I don't know, I just felt like there was so much more she could have talked about in anything. Like, I wasn't even thinking about the Remy Ma beef, and you just brought that L back to existence because you decided to bring it up.
2Chainz, like I said, was pretty good on this thing. I really like the one line on here where he's like, fuck it, asleep, that's a pipe dream. That is only 2Chainz. Only 2Chainz can say that. I really love Mike Will Made It and Mike Dean on this thing too, because they give them like the perfect beats to rap on. Swae Lee and Mike Will Made It apparently even working really well together. I love how every track Swae Lee has been hopping on recently, he has been murdering, he has been doing pretty good with his features. I think him being on the hook for this next song, Poor Fool, does really well. I really like this track too because 2Chainz also goes into incredible amounts of detail when it comes to the streets don't love you as much as you might love them. There are more important things to tend to, like he raps about wanting his parent to stop smoking and kind of keeping one eye open and always watching his own back. Of course, there's still a little bit of room for a very lackluster Drake feature, and we get that. Another kind of lifeless Drake feature.
To clarify what I meant here, it's more or less to say that Drake has just been giving these lifeless features on every single song. They don't really add any energy to the track. It's just there because it's Drake.
I'm not really feeling, you know, this whole thing where people feel like because it's Drake that he has to work on some tracks. I feel like you could have gotten any number of artists to be on this thing to give a little bit more energy. The track and the instrumental itself is already kind of low energy. This thing reminds me a little bit of Portland with the very simple production. I think one of the big starlights of this project is the one that features Ty Dolla $ign, Trey Songz, and Jhené Aiko. I don't know why, they just all make this song enjoyable. It's a vibe kind of song. Jhené Aiko does really good. I always forget about her for some reason. We just don't hear enough about her for me to always bring her up in the R&B female category, but she's definitely a forgotten name when you're talking about people like Rihanna. Maybe you're throwing SZA in there now, Beyonce. I'm sure they might not have the same catalog as people like Rihanna and like Beyonce, but they're still really good vocalists and they still give a very good vibe to tracks. But yet, I mean, to sum up the project, it's pretty simple. It's another 2Chainz album. I mean, what do you expect? To be honest with yourself, you can't go into this project thinking that you're gonna get something, like I said, too substantial in the beginning. It's a 2Chainz album. What do you want? Tell me what you want in the comment section below, and if it gave you what you wanted. Me personally, I went into this thing expecting nothing, and I was pleasantly surprised by 2Chainz's delivery, his vocal capability. I was surprised that at this stage in the game he was still able to give me something solid. I don't think this is his greatest project. It's not his greatest body of work in my opinion, but I think the production on this thing make it a joy to listen to, as well as tying the production into what the subject matter of the song is a lot of the time, like on the second track, Riverdale Rd, where he raps or goes into an incredible amount of detail talking about his life as a trap lord basically, and you get to see the picture being painted, not just because he's giving you substantial lyrics to kind of show that, but he's also giving you an instrumental that kind of paints that picture even more. I think the tracks on here where he doesn't really have a feature by his side are the ones where he performs the best. Other features kind of ruin it, and I think 2Chainz did that to kind of draw a little bit more attention to his album. I don't necessarily think all of these features on here were needed. I can't even see somebody like 2Chainz associating with half the people he had on this album, to be 100% honest with you. Simple subject matter, this whole thing encompasses being a trap lord, 2Chainz coming up from the trap lord into the music industry. A lot of people love 2Chainz until they hop into his projects because they don't realize that he does a lot of the time perform better as a feature than he does on his own projects. I'm not gonna lie to you, man, like 2Chainz is one of the most entertaining rappers there is in my opinion. The charisma, the entertainment, the wit just in his voice, like even though you might not love every song he's on, his position as a rapper is a strong one. One of the most consistently entertaining rappers in the industry. So if you're asking me what I think about this project and the score I would give it, I would go ahead and throw a 6 out of 10 on it. Now don't take the 6 out of 10 as me saying that this is a bad or a lackluster album, because it's definitely entertaining. It's just a standard 2Chainz project, and me basing what I would normally get from 2Chainz, he gave me that in a very solid body of work. Not every song on here I would come back to. Although I do like the title of this project and I think it's going in the right direction, another thing that I did want to commend it for is just, I feel like this album more so was 2Chainz looking back at his life after seeing everything that he's done in the rap game. I mean, I'm not saying that this is as best as he can get, but I feel like he knows he's accomplished a lot, and why not make an album telling people where you've been? Why not make an album telling people the hardships that you've had, the mental state that you've been in at some points in your younger years? Why not tell people that? So that's what I feel like the album is, essentially, and I think it gets that point across pretty nicely. I think if you wanted to keep that point going, you might not want to include new artists and other features on here. You might want to get it all across yourself. I get that you have to make it entertaining. You have to give something that's going to make this appealing to more than just the old heads or more than just dedicated fans you already have, but hey, I think it's a solid project. I'm looking forward to anything else. I mean, 2Chainz, like I said, you're not going to expect too many crazy things from him, but what he does do, he does it well, and he does it consistently, and I gotta say, I'm not mad at the project. It's been Shawn C. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace.